Meeting for the Gainesville City Commission for December 9th, 2025. It's good to have you here this afternoon. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we have the adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and second to adopt the agenda as printed and distributed. I see no further lights. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
We will have the approval of the minutes, the approval of Audit Committee meetings from September the 23rd, 2025. The Audit Committee approves the minutes from the September 23rd, 2025 meeting.
I move approval of the minutes.
Second. We have a motion second to approve the minutes as printed and distributed. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously as well. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we're going on to the business discussion items. 2025-975 excess management processes. The Audit Committee review, approve, and recommend the City Commissions accept the audit report.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Auditor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the Audit Committee, Commissioner Willits. Good afternoon, Mr. Attorney, and members of the public. This item, the first item in this meeting is asset management processes, internal audit, and we co-sourced the performance of this audit. And we performed it alongside Plant Moran. It is going to be presented to this audit committee by two members of Plant Moran. We have Mr. Troy Schneider, who is a partner, and Ms. Bailey Carwood, who is a manager, and they're going to make the presentation to you. Bailey.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And hello, our committee members. It's nice to meet you all. So if we go on to the next slide, I'm not sure who's presenting. Thank you. Stephen already introduced ourselves, so appreciate that. We can move on to the next one. Our agenda items that we have for you all today is that we are going to go through the objectives of this audit, what the scope was in terms of period and departments, as well as the procedures were performed part of this audit, and then we'll dive into the summary of our results as well as some of the detailed results of our findings and developed recommendations for you all. And then we will conclude with a Q&A.
Very good.
So on the next slide, we'll talk about our scope and objectives. So the main objective for our audit here was to evaluate the city's asset management processes. And we primarily wanted to focus on evaluating whether the adequacy and effectiveness of internal controls within asset management and looking at their policies and procedures were adequately designed and whether they were operating effectively as designed. So we evaluated whether the execution of those procedures actually complied with the documented policies and procedure documentation, as well as validating the physical existence of a sample of assets as well in accordance with the asset management records within Workday. So our scope period were fiscal year 2024 as well as fiscal year 2025 at the point of time that we could conduct this audit. And the departments in scope were the 6 departments you see here: Financial Services, Parks and Rec, RTS, Police, Fire, and Public Works. So a little bit specifics on the procedures that we performed. Mainly our procedures focused on these main buckets you see here: assessing the governance over asset management processes and policies, assessing the acquisition and onboarding processes, assessing disposal and retirement processes, as well as the annual inventory count and verification of assets. And lastly, the physical safeguard of the assets themselves. So our audit procedures that we performed started with performing walkthrough interview sessions with each of the process owners in all 6 departments that we mentioned previously. We identified and documented internal controls within the current state processes that we understood them as, as well as reviewed their department-specific policies and procedure documentation to ensure there were appropriate sign-offs and updates as needed, and performed sample-based testing in each of those categories we mentioned that we'll talk about in more detail in a moment here. And then lastly, based on our testing, we identified some findings and developed recommendations to mitigate those findings. And then a summary of our results. So this is just a high level to give you kind of a 30,000-foot view and understanding of, some of the controls that we noticed that were working well, and then some of the findings that we noticed. So some items we noted that were working well were the policies and procedures that govern asset management. We noticed that for the departments, those 6 departments we looked at, they were established and periodically reviewed and updated as needed, as well as the asset addition processes for acquiring and onboarding assets. They were verified appropriately by the departments that specifically procured those assets, as well as they were accurately recorded in Workday once they were acquired. We did, however, note that there were 3 moderate risk findings through our testing and our procedures, and these 3 findings really relate to the 2 points that you see here on the bottom, which is Workday reflecting accurate location and specific unique ID numbers for the assets that were acquired, as well as departments complying with annual inventory count requirements and procedures. And when we mention moderate risk, just so everyone understands what we mean by that, is that there is adequate control environment exists for those processes, for most processes, but there are some weaknesses that would require corrective actions by management. Okay, and now we're going into the first of those 3 detailed results. And so our first finding, we noted that Workday did not reflect the correct location for some of the assets that we sampled and tested. Specifically, there were 3 out of 14 assets that were not physically located at the location that was listed in Workday. And so our recommendation here is during those annual asset inventory counts, for those departments to ensure that they are verifying the physical location, not just the existence of those assets against the Workday records, and making sure they note those discrepancies once they identify them. And then for financial services, once they get the results of those annual asset inventory counts, to go ahead and make sure they're updating Workday appropriately and following the standard processes outlined in their asset annual physical inventory and verification policies. Second finding that we observed was that while there is those asset annual physical inventory guidelines and policies, and while those were provided to departments, not every single department that was in scope completed their fiscal year 24 inventory count, and that the counts that were completed by certain departments were not always done in accordance to the instructions that were provided to them. And so we are recommending management updates Workday to address the anomalies that were identified by the departments in previous annual inventory counts, as well as developing additional training or FAQs for those departments to conduct those inventory counts, as well as including a process for the communications back and forth between the departments and finance, so that there isn't any sort of delay in making sure any discrepancies or questions that come from the departments are resolved timely. And then updating the physical inventory reconciliation guideline to go ahead and include those ERP processes for finance to update any discrepancies as that's currently missing. And then lastly, to hold discussions with departments regarding that time frame that is currently in the guideline of 15 to 20 days for those inventory counts to be completed, and making sure that that's adjusted if needed, if is not feasible for the departments. And then lastly, the last observation we noted were that the asset tags were not consistently documented in Workday. And so for 3 out of the 23 assets sampled, the asset tag numbers that were affixed to the physical assets were not listed in Workday themselves. And so we recommend to finance that they update those admin guidelines to actually detail the Workday processes related to documenting asset ID numbers when they're acquired. And so that could include specific model numbers, serial numbers, and anything unique to that ID that may not be just the asset tag themselves as well. And then ensuring all the departments are also verifying those asset tag numbers or other unique ID numbers against those Workday records during their annual inventory reviews, and then making sure any of those discrepancies identified are actually updated timely in Workday. And now we will open the floor for any Q&A.
Very good, thank you. Members, questions? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything, it seems like a very straightforward feedback. It looks like the recommendations that were given to staff are very reasonable. I mean, it was just update FAQs. There wasn't anything that was overly onerous within that section unless, and it seems like that was accepted by all the staff, financial staff. So, I mean, I'm very comfortable with it, and I'm happy to make a motion unless anyone else has any questions or thoughts.
Was there any public comment
Mr.
registered?
Mayor, no public comment.
Yeah, I would like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you very much to Plant and Moran Bailey in particular for working with us on this audit, and also I would like to express my gratitude to the team from Financial Services for working through this with us. It wasn't as easy as it sounds when it's being presented, but it was done really well, and our communication with our team was very good. And thank you very much also to my team sitting in the corner.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Manager, did you want to add anything? Okay, all right. Very good, all right, yes, let's hear a motion.
All right, I'd like to move that we recommend to the Audit Committee approve and recommend the City Commission accept the full audit report.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That passes unanimously, Madam Clerk. Thank you all very much for your time and effort on this. Much appreciated.
Mr. Mayor, we're moving on to 2025-976 City Auditor's first quarterly report. The Audit Committee review, approve, recommend the City Commission accepts the City Audit Quarterly Report.
Very good. Mr. Auditor.
Again, good afternoon, everybody. This is our first quarterly report that we're going to present to you. As you know, we are required by standards that we communicate what we do in the office, communicate to governance, so we're doing it through the audit committee. I'm going to make this presentation, it's going to be very short. It's a summary of what we are doing. If I may have, Peter, if you can click for me, please. So our presentation really is going to constitute just 4 steps. We're going to talk about completed audits or projects that we have done. We are going to talk about audits in progress. We are also going to talk about status of audit issues as well as our management of the fraud hotline. Let's begin with recently completed audits. And that topic has already been discussed. That is the audit that was discussed just now by Plant and Moran. So we can just go right through it. So at this time in the office, we do have 2 audits that are in progress. The first one is the one that is appearing on the board. And this is Facilities Management Administration Audit. The objective of this audit is to determine whether internal controls in place provide reasonable assurance that city-owned facilities are safe, compliant with regulations, and are managed effectively. So this is our guiding general objective. The project is right now underway. Correct me if I'm wrong, we are already in field work stage. So this is underway. Next, another audit that we've been working on for some time is actually an IT audit, and it's a PCI process audit. payment card industry audit. The objective of it is to review processes and controls around the governance, effectiveness, and efficiency of PCI data security standards across general government, including the management of services that are delivered by external providers. Again, Alisa, if you can correct me, we are pretty much done with this audit. It will probably be ready next time that we meet.
It will be, yeah, it'll be ready next month.
Indeed, thank you very much. Next, we would like to discuss audit issue follow-up. Our processes require that we do post-audit reviews on all recommendations that we do for all audits. And so this summary is a summary of the status of the issues that we have discussed with managers. And in summary, I would say we have at this point 5 open issues. We have 12 issues that are closed, and we have 2 issues that are partially implemented, and we don't have anything that is past due. This is the summary that you see on the board right now. If we can go to a little bit of detail of what we have. So I will not bother you with telling you what those audit issues are. We have already discussed them in the audit reports that we issued. All I can say is that we have fully implemented audit issues, partially implemented, and open issues. We have from Gainesville Fire Rescue, a fully implemented audit issue there. From Housing and Community Development, from GPD. GPD, if you can go back, we have, that was an IT audit, so we did not even try to put the audit issue title, but we have 4 issues there that have been fully implemented. Risk management, we performed an audit for risk management that is required by a memorandum of understanding that the city has with the state of Florida. That is an IT audit, and we completed this audit with 5 different recommendations. Again, we did not put any details on the audit issue titles because this is an IT and some issues are confidential. But I can tell you that all the issues have been fully implemented. The report has already been submitted to the state of Florida. There were some communications between us and the state of Florida after we made that submission. But at this point, all issues seem to be resolved. We haven't had any feedback from them to say that there is anything outstanding. So we believe that that audit is complete. This audit is complete. It was done in a little bit different way that we usually do audits, where we'll issue a report, talk with managers, and then we give them a long time, like maybe 12 months to do their implement the recommendations. This one, the state of Florida, in the memorandum of understanding, required that we submit that report to them along with the recommendations already taken on those issues, and that is what happened in this case. So this is done. We have one outstanding, a partially implemented audit issue with the Office of Equity and Inclusion. And another partially implemented audit issue with a Gainesville Fire Rescue. Well, that is the status of the recommendations that we have. Now we will move on to fraud hotline. As you know, one of the responsibilities of the city auditor's office is to manage the fraud hotline. And as what you see on the board is a summary of the status of reports that we received. We do have a private contractor that receives these reports or complaints or maybe, shall we say, indications of what people think might be happening. These these phone calls that in the hotline don't come straight to the city auditor's office. They go to a private vendor. The private vendor will then enter that information in a database, and all steps are taken to make sure that anybody that makes these reports or that report their concerns, if they don't want to be known or if they want to remain confidential, we make sure that that is done. So I'm telling you here that we have, since the last time that we met, we have opened 3 new cases. We have closed the 3 cases, and we still have 4 open cases. This is a summary of what we have. We do not discuss publicly here what exactly the issues are. In fact, we try as much as we can to make this as confidential as we can, because confidentiality is what encourages people to make any reports if they think they have concerns. And that is why we don't discuss them publicly. We do have our independent external auditor, Purvis Gray, working on our financial statements. The team that works with Purvis Gray is here. I just thought to give you an update that there is, for FY 2025, that audit is underway.
And when do we expect that to be completed?
Usually it's March. It's March. So in
But
March.
everything's on track for that. Okay. Very good.
All right, before we wrap up this meeting, I would like to announce that our next Audit Committee meeting date is March 24, 2026. We also have dates there for the rest of the year: June 16, September 22, December 8, 2026 for all our meetings. We usually have just 4, once per quarter, but we can have more if there are any pressing issues that might need to be discussed. I also thought to take an opportunity to advertise our fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. We have a number there. That number that you see is the number that goes straight to the vendor. There is also a website there that somebody can go and actually input the concerns that they have. From time to time, of course, we do receive issues that really don't belong with us, don't belong to us, and we don't deal with them. So I have on the board there numbers for people that might want to report issues of harassment or discrimination. They go to the Equal Opportunity Office. Also, issues of employee relations, that number there goes to them. They deal with those. We always, of course, receive all cases that come to us, and we will relay them to the right people if we are not the right people to deal with them. With that, you can. This is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please.
Very good. Thank you for that. That's these are good results. Happy to see it moving forward this way. So, any questions, comments? All right. Is there any public comment?
Mr. Mayor, there's no public comments.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much for that. And is there a recommendation?
Yeah, so you wanted us to recommend this just to be sent to, I guess, consent as an informational item to the city commission? All right, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I'd like to approve and recommend the city commission accept the city auditor quarterly report.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Cito for the lights. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we're on to member comments.
Excellent. Anything? All right, that was, yes.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I do have some comments to make. One member of the Audit Committee, Mr. Monk, has tendered his resignation. He is stepping away from this Audit Committee. He just gave us his resignation letter that I'm holding right here today. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude for working with this committee for over 4 years. My office is very happy to have been a part of your guidance. It was my wish that you could continue, but I understand. I would like to say the mayor sitting right next to you is the one who is responsible for nominating new members of the Audit Committee. So if you have somebody in mind that you would like to recommend to be considered for this position, you can talk to the mayor or you can talk to me. I'll recommend to him.
I told somebody just a day or so ago that I thought it had been at least 3 years that you've been on, but it's 4. So there you go. All right. Well, thank you for your service. Much appreciated.
I I will miss it.
All right. Well, thank you for everything you've, for giving up the time and effort to be a part of this. So. Okay, thank you, sir. And of course, this is Commissioner Eastman's last time on the audit committee for now. And Commissioner Willits will be joining us at the next meeting as the new Mayor Pro Tem. And we'll have a 2/3 new audit committee next time around. Okay, and any other questions, comments? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.